Hey, and welcome back inside Big Ten Today. Rick Pizzo alongside former Purdue pitcher Gabby Sprang. Gabby, I'm curious, what is it with lefty pitchers, lefty aces inside the Big Ten recently? I know we have Danielle Williams now, Bailey Partial now, but a couple of years ago we had Megan Bobian kind of jumping on the scene at Michigan. What's up with these lefty pitchers?
Hey, lefty pitchers are special.
Yeah,
and
I know you would think that.
People love lefties. I mean, you see it from a different side. Yep. We can hide the ball a lot better. Yep. And both those pitchers have great changeups. So we'll get into that more, but yeah, lefty pitchers are special.
So let's get into what was the 2022 season, where pitchers like Danielle Williams were a big part of that story. Northwestern was expected to be there, and they were, but they had some challenges. So what did you take away from not just the regular season champs, but the entire competition of the regular season?
Yeah, I think the Big Ten was really different this year. We didn't see Michigan at the top like we always do. Minnesota kind of had a down year. And we had a Nebraska team that historically, they're very strong, but in the most recent years, they just hadn't been. And it was great to see them come out and win a Big Ten tournament championship, and that was awesome for them to make it to a regional.
Yeah, 18 straight wins at one point for the Huskers. So how do you evaluate the postseason? Because it's interesting, you get a team into the Women's College World Series, which is always a huge feather in the cap for the Big Ten, but the rest of the league didn't fare so well in the postseason. So how do you kind of evaluate the success versus the failure for the league in the postseason?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with going into postseason for the Big Ten is just setting yourself up in preseason. The Big Ten is not the strongest softball conference in the country, and so they have to go play those top 10, top 25 teams throughout the first 6 weeks of their season. And so Northwestern, Michigan, Minnesota, they were all able to do those things, and so they were seeded in the NCAA tournament, whereas some other teams like Penn State, who had a great pitcher, they unfortunately didn't get to play those teams, and so they didn't get a seed in the tournament.
Is that the biggest difference from your perspective, having played in the SEC, having played in the Big 12, having now played in the Big 10, that level of competition on a regular basis?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing comparing the Big Ten Conference and the SEC is that the SEC, almost every weekend, you're playing a top 10, top 25 team. And so you don't have to worry about preseason as much. You can kind of sit at home, host some teams, win, and that's really about it. But for the Big Ten, we got to go travel, and you have to go play those top 10 programs really early in your season just to set up your RPI for postseason.
Yeah, and Northwestern did that a little bit as well. Kate Drohan has been known as a coach who likes to go out and have her team tested early on. Will that team be tested in 2023, or is Northwestern the clear favorite heading into next season?
I think, without a doubt, Northwestern is the clear favorite. Just with Danielle Williams back on the mound for her 5th year, they definitely are going to have a great, strong 2023 campaign.
Who else could challenge?
Penn State. I know it's a sleeper team, and they didn't make it into the NCAA tournament, but with Bailey Partial back for her 5th year, I think with a left-handed pitcher back on their mound for them, they'll make a run as well. We
start talking about left-handed pitchers, and we end talking about left-handed pitchers. No surprise, sitting next to a left-handed pitcher. Gabby Sprang with good stuff as we wrap up this edition here on Big Ten Today.
This is The Big Show, coming to you from Chicago. Mike Hall and Gabby Sprang, former Purdue softball player, as we start off with a game that just ended on our air. And what a nice, exciting way to start off this Big Ten Conference season.
What a nice, exciting way to start off. And for the Purdue Boilermakers, they started off the game super strong with a first pitch home run by Rachel Becker. I mean, what can you not love more for the Boilermakers?
It's a good omen.
Awesome. Yes.
For them when the first pitch goes over the wall. Let's show you the highlights of the game that just ended here on our air. Pick it up in the 5th inning. Riley Platusik has 2 runners, both in scoring position. That's a big clutch hit.
I love how she comes up clutch in this situation. She gets these insurance runs for the Boilermakers, and they go on to win this game, so this is awesome for them.
Top of the 7th inning. It's a 5-2 game, so Illinois is chipping away. Bases loaded. Oh, that's the 4th ball. In softball, that means you walk. Runner goes to first. Next runner comes home. Illinois now within 2. Bases still loaded for the next batter, Kaylee Powell. Remember, there's 2 outs, top of the 7th. Etchezarreta comes through. Swing and a miss. 5-3 is your final score. Etchezarreta, pretty darn good on the day. Got into a little bit of trouble, as we showed you there in the 7th inning. But on the whole, what did you see from her performance in the circle?
I saw from Echeverria's performance in the circle, she started off super strong. She got that lead right away, and she was able to continue and had 6 scoreless innings, which is huge as a pitcher. Unfortunately, she kind of got into some trouble, but she was able to get out of it and secure that win. So I think Echeverria in the circle today was really strong. She continued to use that rise ball, use that changeup, and she had some success, especially with some strikeouts. She's a high strikeout pitcher, and she was able to get those strikeouts, get those ground balls, and those pop flies for her team and secure that win.
There you see her get that final out of the game, as you mentioned, to secure the victory. Meanwhile, we mentioned this briefly, but literally the very start of the game, she was given a security blanket in the form of some protection.
Yeah, there's nothing but more that you want as a pitcher than to get that lead in the first inning. And having Rachel Becker, your senior shortstop, to have the first swing, the first pitch of the game, and to hit a home run and get that lead for you, like, that's awesome. That's just such a sigh of relief. And Rachel Becker coming up so clutch in that situation.
And how about Platusik with that game-winning double? Again, like, we didn't know at the time, they're up 3-0, and you think, oh, that's just some couple extra runs. But then they end up scoring 3 more. They don't win this game if she doesn't hit that double.
Yeah, and that's another senior that just came up clutch in that situation. You really have no idea how many runs you need, but you're just tacking on those insurance runs to get as many as possible. And I felt like she really capitalized on a pitch that she knew she could drive, and she scored the runners that she needed, and that was awesome in that situation.
And we mentioned this was the beginning of conference play for the Boilermakers. So where do they go from here, starting conference play 1-0?
Well, for softball, you get 3 games. So getting that first win on a Friday night at home, it's a little cold, that's huge, and you can just take that momentum and continue. I would love to see their offense to continue. I felt like they're not a huge home run hitting team, and having 2 home runs from your best hitters, that was huge, and that was awesome. And it just puts some, relief and less stress on those pitchers. And so I think that they can take this momentum into Saturday and Sunday and hopefully secure a series win.
And we'll see what kind of momentum they can do as this series, again, the second game is coming up in just a little bit. Gabby Sprang, as always, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Back with more right after this here on The Big Ten.